Hello guys, my name is Anesu and I'm going to show you how to set yourself up with a free website using Google Cloud, and all you're going to need is access to a credit card. No money will be leaving your card at all apart from a 1 pence or $1 or 1 cent amount that Google will take out just to confirm your card is working all right. But other than that, this is completely free, and you'll be able to host your website like this for an entire year without any problems. And this is perfect if you're a student looking to learn how to use WordPress, or you have some other software you want to learn. You can easily use this exact same method, and play around with the different software that Google offers. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of things you can use this essentially free trial of Google Cloud. But today we're focused on just WordPress, how to get yourself started up with the WordPress site. Um, this is going to be a bit tricky. It's easy to do, but just setting yourself up with the WordPress site is probably the easiest part of this process. When we get to sort of setting up DNS servers and linking up with your domain, setting up SSL certificates, that's where it can get a little bit tricky. But for now, we're just worried about setting up a WordPress site and being able to see the admin. Um, so when you're ready, we'll get started. So if you're on the Google Cloud platform, once you've made an account, this is what you'll see. So if you go to your console, so I've already made an account with this. I've just deleted the last project I was working on. So let's just get this loading up. Yeah, my computer is running a little bit slow here, running too many programs. Um, but yeah, so once you're on, essentially this will be your portal once you've set up a project. So here I've got my first project. So this was something I was working on, but we don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, so now that we're on this page, we can get ahead with setting up WordPress. So what we want to do is we want to go to Compute Engine and we want to go to our VM. Oh, I've got ahead of myself here. What we want to do, if we go into this box here, it's actually an easier way to do this now. I want to type in WordPress. We want the Open Lightspeed version of WordPress. This is the least intensive version of WordPress you can get. As you can tell, this is the one I usually go to. Essentially, what what Open Lightspeed are, it's a server, but essentially they condense WordPress just to the bare essentials that you need. And essentially, because you're using such a small server anyway on Google's free platform, this will be perfect, and they factored that into the server. So what we want to do, just go to launch, and it's here the options here that we select that will be eligible for the free trial. So you want to select the micro shared instance. The F1 micro should be 0.6 gigabytes of memory. um, as you can see, there are other bigger packages. So once you've made your website here, let's say it becomes super popular and you have millions of people coming every month, you'll be able to just upgrade your server through here if you stick to with Google as your host, essentially, for your WordPress site. But for now, we want the micro F1 shared, and you need this zone has to be US. So if you just stick to any of the US ones, not Asia, not South America, these ones will get charged. But it has to be US zone. So if we go US West 4A, and boot size in gigabytes for this, these options let's leave as their defaults. We don't need to play around with these. For the boot size, let me just check this. Okay, I'm back. So for the boot disk size, what we want to go for is 30 gigabytes, and that should be more than enough. Um, Usually I play around with this, but just for this tutorial, just wanted to make sure. But 30 gig should be enough for anything you're trying to do. And once all of this is done, again, if you want to personalize your deployment, you can name it whatever your project is. So let's say our one today is okay. And again, only lower cases. So let's go 2, 3. No problems with that. So deploy, depending on your connection, this should be quite quick, or it could take a couple of minutes. But again, once it's all done, you should have a fully functioning WordPress instance that we can then go through the WordPress setup for. So again, let's just let this finish off and we'll get back to it. Okay, so my instance has been deployed now and everything is all updated. So now what you see here, this is going to be our IP address. So what we want to do now is, before we can set up the WordPress settings, we need to change this IP address to become a static one, because it is now, every time you restart the server, this IP address is going to keep changing, which just isn't conducive for what we're trying to do. So what we want to go here is, if you go onto VPC networks, tap in VPC, and what we want is external IP addresses. So as this opens up, as you can see, I've already had another IP address on this account. I can release this because actually I'll keep it. We'll keep it. But for your one, if you all you need to do is take it, as you see here, it will say ephemeral. So that means this IP address will keep changing. What you want to do is take that, change it to static, and put in a name for the IP address. And if you've got a different bunch of projects you're going to use, just make that name unique. But otherwise, the name doesn't affect anything at all. So once that is done, if I just name my one, okay, 1, 2, 3, as we did, I think I named myself that as well. So we just wait for this to set up. Okay, so now we set up the static IP address. If we go back to our instance, so we can SSH into it and start up the server and get our WordPress running. So what we want to do, compute engine, dashboard. Let's move this out the way. What's it take me? The app engine. Compute engine, VM instances, that was what we need. Okay, now you see the static IP address we just created should be here now as the external. So if we just click, let's wait for this to load up. So if we click SSH, just a note on SSHing from the Google Cloud Platform. If you're doing this, it's better to do this on Chrome, because Chrome already has the built-in functionalities. Any other browser, this might not work as well as you'd hope. Okay, now we're in, we can see our server. So the first thing it's going to ask us to do is to enter a domain. For this particular, I have a domain, so we'll just enter one random. So if we go people.co.zw, yes. Obviously, for your domain, this will be the correct one, so you don't need to make up anything. And for the time being, you want to press no to this. And for the last, yes, we want to update. This will update the server to the latest version. And whilst that's running, if we go back down here, and we should now be able to copy this. And go to admin. And boom, now we have our WordPress site, our WordPress installation here, and we can just go through. We want English, the site title, let's go my site, username will say admin, password, you can have the strong one, just make sure to copy that, keep it somewhere safe, and the email address you're going to use. And this will, whenever something's wrong with your WordPress installation, they'll send over any diagnostics to this email address. So make sure it's actually a real one, not like me. If you're just using WordPress, this instance, just to play around with, you also want to click discourage search engines from indexing this site. But if you're building this site to actually do some SEO on it, you want to keep this unticked. But because this is just a test, you can keep. And there we go. Our WordPress has been set up fine, and now we should be able to log in. So our login was admin, copy and paste the password. And here we are. We now have a fresh installation of WordPress running on our own private server, and you'll be able to run this for free for the foreseeable future. You can play around with it to learn how WordPress works, or you can actually get started and build your own website on this. And yeah, that's it. What else what you need to do moving on from this is you want to change this from your IP address to your actual domain, which is a trickier process, including also adding SSL certificate. But that's something we can do another time. And you can look through to see how we'll be able to do that in the description. If you have any questions, you should be able to see my email over there, and you can send me any emails. Any problems you run into should be an easy fix to get you up and going. And if you have any problems setting up your domain, like I said, information setting up your domain will be in the description. So if you take a look at that, so hopefully this has been useful. If you want to, set up your own WordPress site or just play around with the software.